Hello, my name is Matthew Huey, and this video is a presentation on the dangers of global warming and why it is a global issue. Global warming is very real, and this is about as real as it gets. Throughout the video, I will attempt to give the viewers a brief but informative look into the basics behind global warming. I will address 6 major questions that viewers may have about global warming. The first question addressed is, what is it? Here I will give the basic definition as to what global warming is. The second question addressed is, what causes it? To answer this, I will give the reasons for why global warming really exists. The third question addressed is, who studies it? People are always looking for reliable sources of information, and I will address that here. The fourth question addressed is, what are the consequences? You must know that there are consequences behind global warming, and I will address them as well. The fifth question addressed is, what can we do about it? If you are looking for a way to stop global warming, there are ways that you yourself, as in you the individual, can help. The sixth and final question addressed is it enough? I answer this burning question by ending with a question. By now you might be asking yourself, what exactly is global warming? When looking at the words global warming, it isn't hard to see that it involves the warming of the globe. A more technical definition of global warming would be that it is the phenomenon of increasing average air temperature near the Earth's surface over the past 1 to 2 centuries. In order to gain a better insight as to how this increase in temperature has occurred, it is important to look at the causes of global warming. When looking at this graph, you can see a rise in temperature over the past 2 centuries, ever since the dawn of the industrial age for humankind. Now that you know what global warming is, you might be wondering to yourself, what causes it? The major cause of global warming is greenhouse gases that are composed of either water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, or nitrous oxide. These gases can occur naturally or they are human-made. Usually greenhouse gases, when occurring naturally, are not a threat to the atmosphere. However, human-made greenhouse gases can cause changes in the natural atmosphere of the Earth. This change in the atmosphere of the Earth causes even more infrared heat rays to get trapped below it, and the result is rising temperatures. This illustration shows the very basics behind how global warming works. As you can see, the Earth is surrounded by a thin layer of atmosphere. As the sun's energy in the form of light waves passes through our atmosphere, most of that energy is used to heat the Earth, while some of that energy radiates back into space in the form of infrared heat rays. Even though the atmosphere is naturally supposed to trap some of those infrared heat rays, the increase in greenhouse gases works to trap more and more of these infrared heat rays by thickening the layer of the atmosphere, thus causing the Earth to warm more than it should. As you can see, the energy-related carbon emissions, aka human-made carbon dioxide emissions, are 82.3% compared to all the other sources of naturally occurring greenhouse gases combined. By now, you might be wondering to yourself, who studies global warming? When researching the effects of global warming, it is impossible not to come across the research done by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, aka the IPCC. They have done massive amounts of research and have so far released 4 assessment reports in which they have researched and discussed the issues behind global warming. The members of the committee are pictured below at a ceremony where they were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for their work involving drawing awareness to anthropogenic climate change. The Environmental Protection Agency, also known as EPA, is an important leader right here in the United States. They are government mandated to perform research involving global warming, and they also help to form policies regarding global warming. And believe it or not, Al Gore is even a credible source for information regarding global warming. Just watch his documentary, An Inconvenient Truth. In this video, he provides a vast array of knowledge into global warming and relates it to his own experiences. He also won the Nobel Peace Prize along with the IPCC for his work into raising public awareness of the anthropological factors behind climate change. There are many more or less credible sources of research and information regarding global warming that can be found, but it's up to you, the viewer, to decide what you want to believe. Now that you know the basics behind global warming, it is important to know what the consequences will be if we do nothing about it. There are many consequences that can be had if we do nothing about global warming. Slowly, global warming will kill the planet as glaciers melt, causing a rise in sea level and flooding. The ocean is also slowly turning to acid as it absorbs 48% of carbon emissions. More and more carbon emissions are being released each year. Inland rivers and lakes are disappearing due to rise in temperature and lack of rainfall. More and more natural disasters will happen. Hurricane Katrina was only a prelude to natural disasters that will happen because of global warming. Global warming is killing animals by radically changing their environments, thus making them uninhabitable. Scientists predict about 1 in 10 animals and plants to be extinct by 2050 due to global warming. Global warming is also killing people. Record high heat waves and respiratory illness aren't the only things that people need to worry about anymore. Now diseases are becoming more and more prevalent as global warming is providing the right conditions for diseases to develop and for disease carriers such as insects and mice to survive. National securities are also threatened by global warming. Desertification of lands gives way to starvation and unlivable conditions, which force thousands or even millions to migrate away from their homes. As freshwater resources are drained by rising temperatures and lack of rainfall, the reality of civil and international wars of freshwater resources becomes a reality. Now that you know of some of the consequences of global warming, you might be wondering to yourself, what can we do about it? First, we can start by reducing our carbon footprint. A carbon footprint is a measure of the impact of our daily lives on the environment. We can start by reducing our carbon footprint by saving energy, by doing things such as turning off lights and electronics when we're not using them, or by unplugging things such as our cell phones when they're fully charged. We can also do shopping just once a week, as opposed to driving around constantly back and forth to do shopping multiple times. We can invest in renewable energy resources, which is pretty much self-explanable. We can reduce driving and opt for walking, bicycle riding, carpooling, or even using public transportation. We could eat healthy. We should avoid meats and bottled water. We should try using tap. We should also buy local fruits and vegetables that are in season so that way we know that carbon wasn't put in to transport those fruits and vegetables. We should also recycle. To think about the earth is thinking about yourself. Remember to think green. By now you might be asking yourself, can my actions be enough? Global warming is here and it is here to stay. The damages from global warming are already so severe that we will have to live with at least some of its consequences. Global temperatures have risen at least 1.1 degrees Fahrenheit, and further warming of another 0.7 degrees Fahrenheit is certain. While evidence shows that no matter what we do, temperature will still rise, the degree to which temperature rises will be totally up to us and the actions that we take today. It is better to do something than nothing at all. When asked if we should still combat global warming, even though its effects are already felt, Stephen Schneider, the co-director of Stanford Center for Environmental Science Policy, said, "You don't just give up. If you have high blood pressure, do you sit there till you die, or do you take Lasix, which is a blood pressure medication?" Would you rather end up with a future like this, or would you rather end up with a future like this? And now I will leave you with the burning question, because the choice is yours. Will you make a difference? For more information on changing your carbon footprint, please visit www.carbonfootprint.com.